In Britain in the 1930s, it was still very much Elgar who was the prime mover, if you like, for music. People thought of Elgar as being the archetypical British composer. But of course Vaughan Williams was writing significant music and had been as well, so he was very important. Bax wrote a lot of his finest symphonic music during the 1930s as well, and there was Bliss also. So there was a very active musical scene, but as far as the wider public was concerned, I think Elgar was still king.
He's one of those people with a very particular genius. He taught himself to compose. He became a master of the orchestra, and he had a very big emotional input. And he was a very fine composer. And we hadn't had anybody like him. There've been plenty of composers, there always are, all over the world. But now and again somebody crops up who has a bigger view of things.
I think even by the mid-1930s, Elgar was not appreciated for the qualities that are greatest in his music, for his originality, for his towering strength as a symphonist, and for the personal elements in his music. He was still viewed very much as the nobilemente, the jingoistic composer that he wasn't, or at least wasn't for a lot of the time. And I think people maybe felt that there were new directions we had to go in. The experience of the First World War was extremely traumatic for a lot of composers. Vaughan Williams, for example, had been a stretcher bearer, and there's no doubt that that was brought to bear in his Third Symphony, which was a sort of requiem in many respects, although it has a deeply pastoral character to it. Now, the Fourth Symphony of Vaughan Williams, a lot of people have interpreted that as being a sort of a prophecy of the terrible things that were to come, the new war, totalitarianism in general. He would always deny that. There was no programmatic element to his music at all, not as far as the symphonies were concerned, not as far as that particular symphony was concerned. And he said on one occasion, can't a man just write a piece of music, which is basically what he was doing.
It's very concise, and there are no concessions to what was known as English pastoral. In fact, it was so harsh that people didn't like it. And they don't play it much. But I've been playing it now and again. Played it in Munich and New York. It's a great success. Extraordinary.
When it comes to choral music, I don't think any work had more of an impact than Belshazzar's Feast by Walton. Here was a bold, brassy, incredibly original piece, very typical of its composer, and that British choral music would never be quite the same after Belshazzar. And even now, you listen to it, it has an enormous impact.
It's something that everybody enjoys. Everybody. It's one of the pieces by a major composer which actually entered the repertory. Bang, like that. It's a huge piece in its short way, and it has to be done with enormous fire and élan and so on. But the orchestra was very good at that kind of thing, and I suspect they know it much better than I do. I should exploit this situation.